On this episode of He Said, She Heard, I sit down with the author of the new book, A COVID Story, who is also an America's Got Talent finalist and championship cabaret dancer, David Paris. Plus, is it okay to keep the masks off or put them back on because of the Delta surge? Our comedy skit with Katabelle / rap with Mattia Signaroldi will shed some light on that. All this and more on He Said, She Heard.
Now, besides listening to us from any corner of the world,
You know that you can watch us too.
È possibile vedere anche il video di questo episodio collegandovi sul sito www.hesaidSheheard.com.
If you want to watch this episode, you can head over to our website, www.hesaidSheheard.com.
She heard a silly noise. I know what's going on. He said that's not what happened. Girl, you got it wrong. He said she heard about what's going on. He said she heard about what's going on. But what's going on?
Now from a word from our sponsor.
Ryan Stewart here of the Two Live Stews. I want to tell you about Herbal Erect, a male enhancement instant drink made with natural ingredients I now use. It is specially formulated to improve any intimate encounter and maximize your sexual potential.
With my high blood pressure and having to schedule adult playtime with my wife, our relationship struggled. Now I take Herbal Erect. There have been no side effects, and happy wife, happy life.
Remember, sex is supposed to be fun and enjoyable. For a free sample, visit herbal-erect.com. That's herbal-erect.com. Also available on amazon.com.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of He Said, She Heard, which may end up being your favorite. So don't forget to click the share and subscribe buttons, and also to keep this international comedy and music show going and growing, there's a Become a Patron button. When you click the Become a Patron button, you'll see there's perks for supporting the show. Listen, share, support. Back to the show now. Welcome to the new He Said, She Heard. I'm Mike Fox, and joining me from Italy is Mattia Signaroldi.
Hi everyone.
Hi Mattia, and hi everybody. Buongiorno tutti.
Ciao a tutti, sono Mattia Signaroldi e sono il musicista dietro alle parti musicali del podcast He Said, She Heard. Sono veramente contentissimo di collaborare con Mike Fox da quasi più di un anno in realtà, perché con Mike passiamo tantissimi generi diversi. Si passa dal rock, country, jazz, blues, rap e tutte queste cose. Sono un sacco felice di poter collaborare con lui.
Yeah, it has been more than a year. I can't believe it. You know, and it's amazing is that it's been more than a year, Mattia, and also that was around, I think, April, because I know that specifically because I look at the show dates of the first episode when it was released, when you first did the music for this podcast. And strangely enough, that is also the same time that our guest on this program today, David Paris, was in the hospital with COVID, and he has been able to write how he lived to tell us about his experience of survival, but in a funny way, and also in a very brave way too. Mattia, how has your summer been?
Well, good. I'm playing a lot in this period, and it's a good thing because in the COVID period, all the musical activities were stopped, were over. Okay.
Yes.
Now it's fantastic to slowly re-begin to play, to do gigs and something like that.
It is exciting. Yes, people were so happy to get out. Again, I was out with my wife and my kids. There was a festival right in a town called Bethlehem, and it's just maybe about an 8-minute drive from our house here in Allentown. And it was so cool, Mattia, because we went twice. It's so much fun. It's a free music festival, but they also have ticketed events as well. But you could just feel the spirit of everyone was so happy, you know, because they're able to walk around and just enjoy music again. So it was kind of like just almost like a modern day Woodstock in a way, just seeing everybody just so happy to enjoy the music. And we wanted to leave before the traffic got really bad. And my wife and I, and we're laughing because one guy, after he was finishing performing, he's like going boom, 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 boom. And then he goes, by the way, everybody, go, we're going to take a break. Go grab yourself some tequila, some beers, because the more you drink, the better we sound.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So it's liberating to be out to concerts and for you gigging again. I'm sure that's so much fun.
I'm so happy to introduce this new episode.
Yes.
With this beautiful book.
Yes, this interview was amazing with David Paris. Yeah, sitting down with him was fantastic because this man has really, you know, been through a lot. But what's really interesting too is that he was also a championship cabaret dancer. And not only that, Mattia, what really impressed me was that he was even an America's Got Talent finalist. And I looked it up. It was back in 2009, actually. Yeah. So it was really cool getting a chance to talk to him and hear about his journey, because his book, it's a very quick read. You know, you get so into it. And what I really liked about it was the illustrations that he has, because there's one particular picture. He's basically saying, I'm ready to go back to Earth now. And there's a disgruntled old man. He's standing on top a stack of books, and he's kind of like indifferent to it all, like, what do you go back to Earth for, you know? And he said at that moment he woke up from his coma. So right now we're going to play that interview of David Paris, everybody. All right, joining me on the show is David Paris, author of a book, COVID Story. And David, you were also a finalist on America's Got Talent. Is that right?
Yeah, semi-finalist, but
Semi-finalist?
made top 20, and that was a number of years ago. But still, the joy of having that experience still resonates today. It was incredible.
I'm sure. Early on in your book, A COVID Story, you know, right before your diagnosis and 87 nights of hospitalization, on that day in early April of 2020, you were describing these horrifying symptoms and how you didn't have a thermometer. And then you say in the book, I thought I might have COVID, but there was no testing at that time for anyone who wasn't a millionaire, you said. Yes. Now, since that was in the, you know, early days of all of this, I'm sure those variables, like not having immediate testing nearby in a city like that, must have made that experience all the more terrifying, right?
Yeah, it's like two things. One, we have a whole different world now. Back then, there was just anger. Like, why do we not have the testing? We knew that the Asian countries had it and they were prepared. Why were we not prepared? But I also was under this assumption that, hey, people who are younger don't die, or people are middle-aged. I was 48 at the time. So even though I was annoyed, I wasn't worried. And then I got sick. And I thought they said, do not go to the hospital. You're more likely to contract COVID if you're there. And we're not going to help you unless you get unless you have the worst serious symptoms. For a week, I had pretty bad symptoms, just like sicker than I've ever been, but I could still breathe. Then I woke up one day. I went to get some breakfast and felt so tired. I just lied down in front of my fridge. And when I woke up, I said, oh, this is bad. And then what was worse, I do like eating, but not that much. And then what was worse is then I couldn't breathe. And I was like, oh, this is something they're talking about. And that's the moment I said, all right, I need to get to the hospital.
Wow.
But, so on one side of it, it's like we had a total lack of preparation. On the other side of it, which for me was incredible, the reason I'm alive today is the New Yorkers did flatten the curve. If as bad as the system was and people were dying all over, it could have been worse if there wasn't some level of a shutdown. And then when I did go to the hospital, there was a ventilator. I was on an ECMO machine, which is like the Hail Mary to save people who are at their very worst. That does the work of the lungs and the heart. but they're limited. So if the New Yorkers didn't flatten the curve, I wouldn't have gotten that. So it's weird. It's like I noticed in some way our government didn't come through for us, but in some ways the people did come through for us. When and I'm an example of that. My life today is because people were being thoughtful.
Wow, it's just amazing. That I'm sitting here talking to you, and as I'm reading in this book, and just just right before your 30-day coma, you said that your text messages appeared in a foreign language. To go from that state to be able to sit here and talk to me and be healthy, it's a miracle, and I'm sure it's an inspiration to a lot of people.
Yeah. So I it's interesting. There's a lot of deaths in COVID, and then more than that, the recovery is horrific. And so for people who do live, they're just thinking, well, I might not die. My book and sort of the message I try to tell people is, look, you might not die, but you get this disease, you're gonna have you could potentially have some really, really rough symptoms. I saw people who are going to be on oxygen tanks for the rest of their lives, and not old people, like
right,
but people who are middle aged, and what it did to people's bodies. To me, I had a lot of nerve damage, a lot of work in my body, and it's going to affect everybody a little bit differently. So yeah, it's a wake up call. But I also say in my book, I'm also talking about hope. It's rough, but I'm also saying, look, I'm somebody who I had gangrene all through my fingers. They said most of my fingers were going to be gone, more of my toes were gone, and I'm not sure whether it's the medical establishment and the power of belief. But I only lost a little bit of one finger right now. That's not too bad. And I did I'm an acrobatic dancer. I did my first show a few weeks ago. It took a year of recovery, but eventually I did it with enough hard work, got a standing ovation. Now, part of it was a sympathy standing ovation because I knew I came back. It wasn't quite the show I used to be able to do, but over time I was able to do the thing I love the most. So yeah, I'm offering both an image of this is a horrible disease, and then also if you get it, or if you know somebody who gets it, there's a way to go about your life to accept the pain and then find the things that you love. And that's what the book is about.
Yeah. Well, I especially like when you were talking about getting back to regular life, back to artistic expression again. You were saying, okay, I know I can't dance the way I used to, like you just mentioned, but you said you can kind of change it out a little bit. And it seems like because you survived what was like a near-death experience, you're grateful for that above everything, right? Absolutely.
Yeah. My heart stopped 4 times. I was one of the sickest people that lived. Anybody who was sick as me, most of them passed away, unfortunately. And I have a chance at being an acrobatic performer for my whole life. I've been a competitor, a 7-time champion, but I've also lost a lot of competitions. I've spent my life seeking satisfaction through some level of doing things. And if I could win, like I said, I was a semifinalist. Sometimes I say finalist, but for America's Got Talent, it was great, but then I still wanted to win, and I felt incomplete. That changed for me after this near-death experience, because many people say your priorities completely changed from being on the outside to saying what satisfies me on the inside. I called America's Got Talent a few months ago, and I said, hey, look, I got this great story, about a comeback from COVID. And they said, it's a little bit late. We already filmed for the season. Let's get you next season. And the rehearsal I had that same day with my partner was like none I've ever experienced. Because in the past, every acrobatic move I ever did was to win a championship. And for the first time, without a goal in mind, I just did it for me. There was a new pleasure in being able to experience life for just what I wanted to be in the moment, not because I'm trying to get something. And it was a weird transition to make that happen. I actually had a crazy dream when I was in my coma. I was in a coma for 30 days rather. And in there, I remember the day where I was cut by a spirit as I was trying to win a competition. And he cut me in half. And when he cut me in half, in that moment, he showed me like the multiverse from like Doctor Strange, like all the different universes in the world. And I thought, oh my God, I've been so searching for something beyond, rather than just accepting my insignificance. And it was weird because in some ways I found how insignificant my life is compared to my ambitions. And on the other end, I found out how significant I am because a lot of people reached out to me and were sharing their love for me in a way And that shifted my life toward trying to achieve something for significance, to accept the people around me who already find me significant, who already find everything I do for being not just enough, but being valuable. And it's been a shift that, unfortunately, you know, I'm not suggesting anybody go through a near-death experience to have that same spiritual change. It's a little dangerous, but definitely happened for me in the most positive way, despite some severely disabling after effects.
My goodness. Yeah. Well, I've been hearing about the long haulers. That's been on the news a lot. You know, people having these debilitating symptoms after COVID, after surviving it. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, that's been far harder. People, the way I try to describe it, is the mental suffering that I experience on a daily basis is 900 times anything I experienced in the hospital getting COVID. And I know a lot of friends who experience a lot of anxiety disorders, and the suffering is tough. The upside is the care is there. And for me, I've had to search out, what does it mean to recover from trauma? What does it mean to stay in the present? And, you know, I've always been wanting to meditate. Now I have to. I got no choice. You know, because if I just sit and let, you know, my thoughts run me, it runs me into the ground. So now I have to take the horse by rein and say, all right, I'm not going to let my mind go into these places that don't work. I need to find the places that bring me to my positive self. Otherwise, my mind drives me to the ground.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, I like that little, is it a parable at the beginning of the book? You know, you talk about the, what is it? The wolves. I'm trying to remember. Two wolves. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, that's, you have a choice. Like, it was weird. There's a famous story about two wolves where an indigenous elder talks to his grandson and says, you know, inside of us, there are these two wolves fighting and clamoring for our attention. And one is a negative, jealous, angry wolf. And the other one is kind, loving, full of gratitude. The grandson asks, well, which wolf wins? And the grandfather, the elder, says, well, the one you feed. And I never understood that story, that parable, until one day, about a month into my, after waking up from the coma, up for the first month, I was just happy to be alive. And it was just like, people were saying, wow, what a miracle. And nurses would come and say, finally, there's somebody who's lived, because they saw so many people die. And I just felt so nurtured and loved. And then I was just like, oh, when I realized that this recovery, I actually thought I was going to be up and doing a show that, you know, at the end of the month. And the doctors are like, look, we don't know. And when I got it, that I couldn't move my arms still, I had no strength, I couldn't stand. And yeah, I didn't get it that I couldn't move for a while, but once I figured out, oh, this is going to be a year or two of rehab, and I'm not going to be able to do the thing I love, I was just like, you know what, maybe I'm not so lucky. Maybe I'm really unlucky. My brother who got sick is my same size. He's the one, he was only sick for a week. Why did I have to get as sick as I did? Why did the government do more to protect us? You know, there's a whole list. And I was just like, oh, that's the two wolves story that I heard those years before. That, because when I get caught up in the negativity, I didn't realize I have a choice. And the two wolves tells you have a choice in what thoughts you have. And it's not to say ignore the negative thoughts. It's to honor them and say, okay, what good is these thoughts doing me? What are they trying to drive me towards? And then where can I shift my life? Because if I just believe it, man, and that's a daily struggle. Just yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine who had a great life, talking about his kids and grandkids and his director. And I was like, oh, man, I'm fucking jealous. Man, this guy has the best life. And I was thinking, there I go again. I'm comparing myself to this guy's life instead of my life. And that the comparison is just a negative bad wolf habit that is good to push us to do good things. But then I said, let me look at the things I love to do. Right. So yeah, that two wolves parable I talked about throughout the book. And now it's a daily thing for me about recognizing the control we have over how we live our lives and not seeking to, you know, when we have negative thoughts, accept them and move on and find those methods to be as happy as possible.
Wow. That's very inspiring, David. I love the illustrations that pop up in the book, especially when you had those 4 different dreams during the coma. And I like the one where it's in the library and there's that old geezer standing on a stack of books and you're just telling him, you know, I'm ready to go back to life, to Earth. And he's just kind of, you know.
Yeah,
you know.
he did such. My illustrator I've worked with her. Usually I write adolescent fiction, and
Okay.
he's like a comedic illustrator, and he just did the best job. You know, when I saw I told him about a dream in which this is actually when I was first waking up that first week, and at night I used to have these horrible nightmares, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night, and I remember this. I just said all of a sudden I knew I was in a pirate ship. And the pirates were gonna, throw me overboard. So I had, at the time I could only wiggle a little left and right. So I spent like an hour wiggling down to the bottom of my bed, and I threw myself off the bed even though I couldn't stand. And the nurse ran in and says, "You're in the ICU. What are you doing?" I was just like, "Oh, sorry." And it was this wild hallucination. And I told him the story about it. And yeah, my illustrator nailed it beautifully. He had the pirate with the cutlass looking at me, saying, "Hey, what are you gonna do?" And I love illustrations, partly because I write for adolescents, and kids love pictures, but I get the same reaction from adults. The adults say, "Wow, what a great embellishment." And I love what he did.
That's great. Yeah, because I have a similar cohesion with another person I work with on this show. He'll make the music for the show, and it's amazing when I'll send him like these lyrics and he puts it to life, into a song, and I'm like, oh wow, and he makes it his own. So it's a similar experience you talk about with that illustrator, just capturing what's on your mind, and it complements what you're writing. It's a beautiful process.
Collaborations are amazing because you never know what your artist is going to do. And I've been that as a dancer. Like I'll say, this is going to sound a little crazy, but like one of my craziest shows I ever did was somebody called me up. They wanted us to do an acrobatic dance to their grandfather's funeral, who was a patron of the arts. And they said, "We want you to express beauty to," and so we played some Boyz II Men song about angels, and then she went up in the air, and she was so happy. And yeah, when artists collaborate, I can't say that it all goes right, but it can be such a most beautiful process. And I remember in that show we did at the funeral, it was kind of interesting because half the crowd we could see was like super happy, like, "Wow, this is such a great expression of this guy's love." And the other half was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, of course. They'll be like, "Wait, somebody died here."
Yeah, right.
You're putting on a show, but they don't realize, well, maybe that's what the person wanted, and all the other people were touched by it.
Yeah, we were immediately immersed in how people have different views of what funerals should be, right?
Yeah.
But I say that as this interesting story of collaboration is the best. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, especially like in the way the world's been, and when we were right in the middle of COVID, being able to work with other people, in my experience, was exciting. During that time when you were in hospital, it's like it was so weird to turn on the TV and see Saturday Night Live doing Zoom calls with every cast member. It was bizarre, but it was a great way to keep people connected while we were all kind of disconnected and in our shells in a way.
Absolutely, yeah. The Zoom thing. Yeah, I've heard that the timing of the pandemic is horrible, but the Zoom has at least made it a little more bearable.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
So the book is called A COVID Story. The author is David Paris. Get your copy. You can get it on Amazon, or
you can get it on Amazon. And if you want a digital copy, just email me. I'll give you anybody who would like a digital copy. It's my pleasure to share. It's an uplifting story, and it's both deep and I think you'll find it funny. And my goal is just to share it with as many people who are touched by it, by the issue, or they're people who are denying that it's happening. So you can email me at info@davidparisbooks.com. And if you want to purchase the hard copy, it's on Amazon.
Well, wonderful. Well, David, it's been great having you on the show.
It's such a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and nice to connect to you, and look forward to seeing you in the future, man.
Thank you, David. It was wonderful getting to talk to David Paris and talk about how he changed his goals, with dancing, because he realizes because of the long-term effects of COVID, he can't dance the way he used to, but he was auditioning and he just had a different goal in mind with his partner. That was cool hearing him, listening to him say that.
Very inspiring story.
Yeah. We're now going to pause for a quick commercial break.
E ora una piccola pausa pubblicitaria.
Ryan Stewart here of the Two Live Stews. I want to tell you about Herbal Erect, a male enhancement instant drink made with natural ingredients I now use. It is specially formulated to improve any intimate encounter and maximize your sexual potential.
With my high blood pressure and having to schedule adult playtime with my wife, our relationship struggled. Now I take Herbal Erect. There have been no side effects, and happy wife, happy life.
Remember, sex is supposed to be fun and enjoyable. For a free sample, visit herbal-erect.com. That's herbal-erect.com. Also available on amazon.com.
He said, she heard. These guys are a riot. I love the quirky comedy.
How you going?
What?
The music. And now I can wear the show. That's right, I just bought some He Said, She Heard merchandise. I got a t-shirt, a mask, a tank top. Head over to www.hesaidSheheard.com and click on Shop Now. That's www.hesaidSheheard.com and click on Shop Now.
Now, right now, there's a Delta surge going on. What's it like over there in Italy right now, Mattia? Is the numbers going up again? Because that's kind of what's happening here.
Ok. La situazione in Italia adesso è un po' particolare, nel senso che c'è una campagna vaccinale che sta andando avanti. Purtroppo si rischia la quarta ondata e quindi in questo momento non si hanno certezze. Si sta cercando di ripartire, ma senza alcuna certezza.
Everyone wants to get back to normal and keep it back to normal. Very similar situation here in the States, because back in June, it was a big take your mask off campaign. The CDC said, okay, it's okay, you can take them off. People were celebrating, taking videos, TikToks of them, taking off the masks. This next skit we're going to play is all about that. And it's also all about how, wait a minute, some places require us to put them back on. So that's what this next skit is all about here. Featuring Katabelle and, of course, Mattia Signaroldi and myself. Here's the new skit. Take it off. Wait, no, put it back on. On a sunny, warm Los Angeles morning on June 15th, 2021, Grace Looby Dooby Dooby gets in her car to head to work.
I just love my fancy car. This interior smells so good. Something was supposed to happen this morning. I can't remember. Oh, I see Julie's calling.
Hi, Gracie.
Hey, Julie.
You listening to the radio?
I just played the news while I was blow-drying my hair in the bathroom. I even Instagrammed myself, throwing my mask in the trash.
I meant your show your husband is on.
That's right, Julie. Devin is on the Kelly McDelly morning show. I'm gonna hang up and tune in.
Wait, Gracie, there's something you need to...
We'll talk later, Julie. No more Zoom. It's great to have you in studio with me, Devin. I've been yearning for this moment for so long.
I know.
Just so our listeners get a better picture in their mind, not only are we doing it in the same room together, but we're uncovered in this area. It feels so good.
It feels good to feel a breeze right here.
Feels good to breathe.
Oh, yeah.
Wait. Is Kelly naked with my husband now on the air? I knew she's LA's female Howard Stern, but to this extent? That's it. I'm driving to the radio station. Let me pull over and get it on the GPS. You're such a big hero. Besides overcoming illness and adversity, you're funny. And your wife, Gracie, is one lucky woman. The nerve to get naked with my husband and bring my name up. Your listeners are about to hear a cat fight in the...
You should arrive at WBUT in 13 minutes.
13 minutes and I'll pluck out 13 eyebrow hairs one by one, Kelly.
Grace has been a big support through all of this. If you're listening, Grace, I love you.
You pig. So you think after I stand by you through sickness and health, you can go hook up with some sexy radio nymph and turn around and say you love me? I never told you I wanted an open marriage. Where did this even... I feel so naked right now, even though I always do my show without wearing it. It's hard to use this mic and be understood. Wearing that, covering up, all this...
Looks better uncovered. Even though we are more than 6 feet apart, we can see each other better.
I agree. This is so liberating. I enjoy driving to work like this. You drive to work naked and don't get pulled over. Must be because you're a celebrity. Must be nice. Maybe I should even come and...
Me too.
I guess the two of you were made for each other.
10 minutes later, Grace arrives at the station.
Excuse me, do you have an appointment with Miss McDelly? She's on the air now.
I'm the wife of the guest on the Kelly McDelly show.
Oh, Mrs. Looby Dooby Dooby.
If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, and
But you don't look like a duck at all. My apologies. I didn't want to sound like I was flirting.
It's all right, Mr.
Mario Luigi.
Mario Luigi? Which one is it?
But my first and last name. My parents made me while playing Nintendo.
Well, Mr. Luigi, it's a pleasure to meet you, and maybe we'll meet again after I finish what I have to do upstairs.
Oh, okay. Let me walk through the elevator and press the button for you.
You're such a gentleman.
Did you step on a duck?
If it looks like a duck.
Have a good one, Mrs. Looby Dooby Dooby.
I can't wait to go out with that hot security guard after I make some noise on the air. Here's my floor. There's the studio. Wait, they have their clothes on. How do they do that so freaking fast? It's been a pleasure having you on the show. Oh, look, I see you have company. Am I about to meet Gracie?
Wow, this definitely topped off a great, unmasked LA morning.
I'll drink to that. My guest has been Devin Looby Dooby Dooby, and you've been waking up with Kelly McDelly on WBUT in LA. Bye. What a great show, Devin. Hey, Mrs. Looby Dooby Dooby. Hi, Kelly. No masks. Is that what you and your... Yes, isn't it great not having to wear these and do my shows virtually? Gracie, you have an awesome hubby.
2 months later.
You're waking up with Kelly McDelly on WBUT in LA. Returning to the show is Devin Looby Dooby Dooby.
Hello again. Kelly, seems like yesterday I was here.
It sucks. We gotta put it back on after taking it off. Okay, this time I know that something is going on. They aren't talking about masks anymore.
Actually, Grace, they are. Some states are now mandating we put them back on, but some aren't. However, I'm putting my mask back on because this variant sounds dangerous.
Wait, we gotta put him back on?
Maybe it will be best if I explain it in a song.
In a song. Oh, but Mario, wait, I got both shots. Oh, but Mario, wait, I got both shots.
Take it off? No, wait, put it back on. Take it off? No, wait, put it back on. Take it off? No, wait, put it back on. Take it off? No, wait, put it back on. Didn't you hear what the CDC stated? You can spread it even if you're vaccinated. No need to panic, no need to get pissed. I know it's a drag, but you can't do this. Take it off? No, wait, put it back on. Take it off? No, wait, put it back on. Take it off? No, wait, put it back on. Take it off? No, wait, put it back
on. Great song, Mario. I hear you loud and clear.
Grace.
Oh, hi, Devin. I thought you were still on the air.
Commercial break for W, but as I exited the elevator, I saw you getting jiggy with it with Mr. Luigi.
Devin.
It is important that we be careful. No joke. Let's spread the word. Honey, why don't you fill in for Mario while we put security guard Mario Luigi on the air to spread the message to the listeners? All right, that was such a fun skit to do, Mattia. Always enjoy working with you. So, what's next on the plate for Mattia Signaroldi?
Ok, il prossimo progetto è uno spettacolo teatrale, musicale con il mio gruppo che andrà in scena un po' in giro per il nord Italia. Next week, yeah.
Next week. All right, so till next time.
Yeah.
I'm Mike Fox.
I'm Mattia Signaroldi.
And we'll see you next time on He Said,
She Heard.